respectfully, bro, I won with Preston. I made finals with Preston. You know, he is bad, dude. He hasn't been good in a very long time, and the fact that he has a spot when players are actually just so much more deserving is fucking insane.
All right, yo guys, welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. We are going to be doing a quick tier list post Major II going into Major number 3 qualifiers starting tomorrow. I just thought this would be a good opportunity just to talk about the teams now that we have all these new rosters. Give my thoughts on them and put them into a tier list. What my tier list criteria is today is based on performance and based on what I think they're going to do and based on how good I think they are. So notice the I's and the me's because it's my tier list, okay? So it's based on how I think they're going to do, how I think they are right now, and based off of results. So those are my 3 criterias of it. It's not just going to be, how they place at the major. So there are going to be some curveballs in here a little bit, but some obvious things. So where should we start? I think I'm going to just start off with the first team to go into D, and that is the Vegas Falcons. And the reason why I have the Vegas Falcons in D, I mean, I've talked about it already. This team put together, it's 4 good players, but as a team, not going to be good together. That is my prediction. If they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. I will go onto my knees and I'll admit I was wrong. But I don't think I'm going to be having to do that at all. So they picked up Arcedes and Priesta, and then they have AG and they kept Xnid, so they basically dropped all their all the Saudi roster that they have, and they kept their best player, which was Xnid, and they brought in former world champions. And I think the biggest part about this for me was the Pro Loot deal and how that one got canceled because higher ups blocked the move. And I got some question marks about that. I don't understand why people that don't have knowledge on the game would block a move like that. There are reasons that we don't know, so maybe those reasons actually validly answer our questions. But from the outside POV, not knowing all that information, Pro Loot was a way better choice. A way better choice than Priesta. It could salvage your S&D, which I think with Arcedes, Priesta, Xnid, and AG, I don't know that like Vegas Falcons, their one redeeming quality with the roster they had before was their S&D. They were terrible at respawn. They have no grasp of respawn. Now it seems like it flips. All 4 of these players have a grasp of respawn. If they put it together as a 4-man unit is up to question. But they have now the respawn knowledge, but now their S&D, I feel, is going to take a big hit because I see Arcedes, I see Priesta, I see AG, and I see Xnid. I mean, obviously, Xnid on that former team obviously knows S&D. AG could finally go back to being the superstar player that doesn't need to take the bomb. Xnid does happily take the bomb, even when he was the best player on his team. He was still taking, he was doing it all. My big question mark is if Xnid is going to be able. I mean, I seen him kind of do it in the games when he realized his team wasn't really doing much. Like, I did see him do like the do it all thing, doing the OBJ, doing all the work. So I know there's part of him that probably is capable of it, but I mean, coming at the sacrifice of having AG on your team, I mean, there's going to be, there's going to be dips in statistical performance for Xnid, and I hope that does not change anyone's mind about him and the potential that he has. I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of things he has to work on, but I would think if I'm ownership and I want to build a team around my one Saudi star, that I would get players that make them better. I know AG was on the market, and I mean, you can't pass up a talent like that. But in terms of making Exit better, I don't think AG's that person. Like, I would have gotten a great supporting cast around Exnit of good players that could still enable him and make him do better. Like Proloot as a SMG duo would be great, because Proloot has high engagements. He's like a guaranteed 28 and 27, like every hard point. Always has like a 1.01 to 1.10 in hard points. Great at S&D. Him and Exnit and S&D would be great. They could honestly alternate on who's grabbing the bombs or not. I mean, Exnit would probably still take them, but their S&D would remain good. Their hard point, it could enable Exnit to be able to get the kills he needs to get, because he has a person that can facilitate him, a person that can also get kills as well, which is why I think Proloot would be a better option. But I think what the management was going for was they're thinking superstars, people that have world championships, not knowing that this motherfucker Priesta, no disrespect, I already made a short about it. I don't know how this guy keeps finessing his way onto teams. I have no idea. I know he's a world champion, but bro, he was carried. I don't care how disrespectful it sounds. I'm sorry. This is just my opinion. I feel like it was carried to that world championship. So anyone saying he's a world champion, when I hear they're a world champion, I think, bro, they're a world championship player. I don't think that for Priesta, like, at all. Like, when I hear Abizi's a world champion, I think this guy probably, like, was dropping numbers, like, to get that world championship. When I hear MC or Simp or Shotzi, I think players that are, like, you know, they probably had takeover games, even AG, like, takeover games. Like, they were actually, like, you know, they were carrying their weight. I don't think that with Priesta. If you take Hydra out of there, I don't think he ever gets it. I don't think, like, if he wasn't going to win it that year, clearly wasn't going to get it any other year. So, got pretty lucky that year. I'm not going to lie. Got pretty lucky that year. That's just my opinion. So, whenever everyone's saying he's a world champ, I don't really hold that much weight on it. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, bro, it's almost like the NBA. It's almost like the, like, third line that only goes out when there's like 2-3 minutes left, calling them NBA champions. Yeah, they are, but, like, you know, like, how much of the, you know, it's like that type of shit. But I think the reason why Priest was brought in here, not only because of his personality, I think it was the accolades. Probably wasn't many people's decision. I mean, I know Clay probably likes him, but I think it was because of the accolades. And, bro, he's a player on the team that could play the bitch role. And I'm thinking a team with AG and Exnid, if you want to make AG and Exnid do good, you need a player to do the bitch role. But I've always been an advocate on everyone being able to do it. But with a team like AG, I mean, he's just, like, not. It's just more of, like, the slack that you need to pick up, you know, more the dirty work that you need to pick up. But I've always been an advocate, if it isn't going to be everyone, to at least have an AR and an SMG that are capable of doing both. I don't really like both SMGs being the OBJ and then the ARs being the Slayers and vice versa. I feel like it needs to be, like, a balance, like, between the four. But I do feel like it should be everybody. And R-Cities, I know he just won the last Challengers Champ land, but I've been looking at his statistics and his gameplay. Hasn't really set my world on fire this year. I've always advocated that he should have been able to get back in the league after he got dropped on his head by Atlanta FaZe. But, I mean, I'm not sure it was personality or what, but he was not able to get back in the league. But he did have his chance on LAG, just complained all year. I know it was a terrible situation, but situations like that, you need to make the most of it. If people like Joe DeCease were able to make the most of it, you know, you should be able to, no matter how bad the situation is. But I know it sucked. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't really lit my world on fire. So they basically brought in an AR duo that is really average, to be honest, in my eyes. And in S&D, I don't know what to expect. I mean, I really do want to see RCs fucking do good, but, you know, I don't know. I'm just not convinced by this team at all. Like, I know AG is going to put up good statistics, but I think it's going to come at the sacrifice of the rest of the team, to be honest, bro. I don't see him doing, Like, I can't wait to watch their S&D because I know it's probably going to be the worst mini map I've ever looked at for S&D in a very long time. So I can't wait to see that. I mean, I have no doubt they could take maps off of teams, respawn maps, maybe win a series against the right opponent. But I honestly, dude, I think they still lose like everything. I think, dude, it's so funny because I feel like the only team that they're capable of beating after these new rosters have been announced, I feel like the only teams are LEG and Miami. I feel like every other team should have no problem actually beating this team. Unless they completely do a 180 on me, surprise me, and they end up being crazy good, like, in everything. But highly doubt that. So I'm going to keep them in D. But yeah, I kind of thought when they were going to drop everyone and build around Exit that they're going to get players more that can facilitate them. Priesta is kind of one of those. I would say Ars is one of those, but AG is not one of those. AG is not one of those. That was just a superstar that so happened to be on the market, and they wanted to take the opportunity. They'll probably end up building around him. But I feel they probably would have been better off keeping, like, dude, or even bringing up whoever that AR is in Challengers. Is it KQ4B or something? They would have been better off keeping an AR and then just building the team around like an AR as opposed to an SMG, because then it would make sense, because then you could find someone that could actually really complement Pred and then have an AR to go beside, then having a more experienced AR to go beside like your cracked out AR. That would probably be a better dynamic, but, you know, I'm not making the rules. But I'm having them in dirt last place, okay? You understand me? I have them in dirt last place. Like, they're actually going to be... Actually, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. Excuse me while I take one sip of water. All right, next team. I'll do Boston. So I'm going to put Boston in C tier, and it's very simple. I think that their win against LA Thieves was probably the worst thing that could have happened to them, because I think it gave them a false sense of, you know, we're capable of actually beating good teams if we actually put our minds to it. But I'm not sure if they watched that game back. I'm not sure if they watched that game back. But if they did, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take Albert Einstein to see, bro, LA Thieves, if they play even 5% better, like, they win that game. That Hacienda hardpoint was an anomaly out of a team on the caliber of LA Thieves. Mistake after mistake after mistake. Probably 12 mistakes in the map, and they're still somewhat able to keep the game sort of close. It's like they're making mistakes, and Boston wasn't fully capitalizing on them. They were still kind of, like, trolling themselves and kind of keeping the game close, but I mean, that game was an anomaly. And then that first map happens, and I kind of feel like that just rode the wave of momentum. Sometimes that happens in tournaments when like, you lose that first map, no matter how good of a team you are. And just like, it's like a weird wave of momentum shifting. All of a sudden, if you're the good team, you're kind of tweaking, like, we shouldn't have lost that first map, but now we got to win this map. If they beat us on this map, you're so lucky, you know, like that type of stuff. And that was an anomaly. They beat LA Thieves, and then they lost their next two games. So that tells you all you need to know. If you run that game like 100 times, they probably lose like 95, if not more. So that was an anomaly series. I feel like they should have made a roster change. I do feel like if they brought, like, Kenny would have been good in the place of Awakening, a leader on the team. I think him and Purge would probably get along very well. And he has a superstar like Snoopy who's still team oriented, and they're just like a good team. You know, they're a good team. They're a good team in pretty much everything except for control. And if you come in as Kenny, I mean, granted, I mean, you know, like, your control with OpTic was a little bit weird. Could say it's the dynamic of the team you're on, but you know, all you have to do is improve control and, like, keep the hard point where it is, and you're already like a pretty solid team. But they should have brought in someone for Awakening, even like a Spart, like somebody, bro, somebody else. They needed an upgrade. They needed someone that, They truly need. I'm sorry for yawning. They truly need an AR that could just get more kills, because control mostly is about kills, and that's just something that they're not doing. Just overall, I mean, like, their control in general is terrible. I mean, they have the second worst record next to the Vegas Falcons at control. But Awakening is very inconsistent, and every time I say drop him, he goes to land and he starts having like some good maps, but then they end up losing anyway. So, I'm not gonna be deterred by that, or I mean, that's actually like the wrong word to use. I'm not gonna be convinced by that. I'm not gonna be persuaded by that. I think they still need to make a change, but they're not going to, because I think that one win against LA Thieves gave them some false hope. I do feel if they have another bad stage, they probably will make a change before Major IV. If they don't, then they just really enjoy each other's company. They want to stick out the whole season together. Kudos to them. I mean, like, that's a great feel-good thing, but you're not going to do shit with it. So you're not going to place good. You're going to go out early every time. It's not going to be worth anything. You're going to make champs, probably place 8th. Maybe might make one upset. Not going to get that far. Like, always try to pack a punch when you can. So, Boston is in C. Who should I do next? I'm going to do... I'm going to do... You know what? I'm going to say more of like the heavy hitters for later. I'm going to do Miami. So, I wanted to put Miami in B, but they've been very consistent. They placed 3rd place the last land, came back. We're having pretty inconsistent results, which means just proving the fact that they're a B-tier team, like a team around their average fighting. But it's not going to make that much sense until you see the other teams I have in B. So just with that said, I'm going to put Miami in C. C really doesn't feel right, because I do feel like they're like a B-tier team. Like, they're able to beat pretty much everyone except for Atlanta FaZe and LA Thieves. Like, they're pretty much capable of beating everybody else because of the 2 players they have, Real and Røkkr. Very good players. Another team that I feel should have made an upgrade. The upgrade was Super, which I don't feel is that much of an upgrade. It was kind of like a pretty much lateral move. I'm hoping he proves me wrong, because I do want to see the team do good, but I do feel like they could have picked up somebody else, to be honest. But they're really gung-ho on keeping it Spanish. As we go through like the teams, I might move Miami to I might move them to B. I might move them to B. I just need to actually see all the teams on the board before I start switching around. But right now, I'm going to have them. I don't even want them higher than Boston. That kind of doesn't feel right to me, but it actually does. Okay, so I'm going to keep them top of C for now. Up next, I'm going to do Carolina Royal Ravens. I mean, that roster change, man. That roster change that was going to happen but got negated really just turned a corner in the worst way for them. And I'm not going to say the cliche things everyone else has been saying. I'm actually in the opposite camp. I do feel even with that, like, you could think, Reese, understandably so, is probably like, these motherfuckers want to trade me, should I even care anymore? Like, I think the fact that now the roster change was not made and you're on the team, I personally, I mean, I can't put myself in his body, his feelings and his emotions, because I know I would be, and so I'm like, these motherfuckers wanted to drop me for somebody else. And the person they want to pick up for me, it was like not even playing that well. Like, he's like the worst player in the league, that type of shit. And Reese, like, arguably, like, on LAN and just in general, bro. I said in the start, I even have a YouTube video. You can even go search it up. I thought Reese was getting set up from the beginning of the season ever since he got put onto an AR. Granted, it was a role he accepted and he took on the challenge, but I knew he was going to get scapegoated eventually, and it was that time where he got scapegoated. And you see how he's made to play on this team, like an S&D, like he went from an aggressor who makes plays on the map to now he's being resorted to having to be the guy that watches like the pinches and the flanks and being the slow player while everyone else gets to go have fun. Everyone else gets to go have fun. Reese has to be the bitch that fucking stays back and make sure that the door's locked, you know? Like, he is getting set up from the beginning. And then there's, like, the thing that they talked about how they switched roles for, like, a scrim series and it didn't go well. They switched back, or I'm not sure if it was a scrim or a map. But I think the reason why that didn't work well, I'm thinking, in my opinion, like, without knowing anything, I'm thinking Reese is like, fuck, I gotta run a sub. This is awesome. Feels great. But I think Gwen, who's so used to roaming around with, like, the SMG, is like, okay, I cannot do this shit. I can't hold an angle with this AR. I don't want to be the guy blocking spawns or fucking sitting on the hill. Like, that's not what I like to do. I think it was more of a Gwen thing than it was a Reese thing. Like, I think the reason why they got slaughtered is because Gwen probably has no fucking clue how to run that AR at all. No idea how to play like an AR. No idea what he has to do, because it's actually not even just because of the gun, but just the playstyle is the complete opposite playstyle of his. He can't go roaming anymore, has to hold more angles, has to watch over his subs, has to sow kill time more, which are all things, you know, not that used to. So I could imagine the scrims didn't go well because Slasher's probably playing AR by himself because Gwen didn't even know what the fuck to pick up or watch or do anything with an AR. But Reese is probably like, damn, I'm in the mix. I'm having a great time. My engagements, highest accuracy SMG player, like in the league, like every year. Like, bet, this is a bet for me. But, you know, it was probably that. But with that being said, the way I look at it, they did have a bad major, but overall, they're pretty average. I should actually have, like, another tab open. I'm not going to lie. I should have another tab open with all the teams, like, just to see, like, their records. Because, like, sometimes it's hard to remember this stuff. So we're going to open up Carolina Royal Ravens. Like, they didn't play that bad, did they? So at the Major II Qualifiers, yeah, they went 5-2. Like, they didn't play that bad. They just had, like, a bad major. Like, I still view them as a B-tier team. I'm actually ignoring, like, the OpTic scrim. I'm ignoring that 8-0 OpTic scrim. I think that was just an anomaly. Like, that would, like, never happen again. Like, that was just a team that obviously something was going on. They probably fucking stopped caring after map number 2 and 3 and just kind of played, like, the rest of it. But I do feel like they're very capable of beating pretty much every team in the league except for, like, I mean, like, they have beaten LA. Actually, no, they haven't beaten LA Thieves before. Like, they lost them every time. But I do feel like they're capable of beating everyone except for, like, the top teams. They did beat Atlanta FaZe in the Major I qualifier, but that was an anomaly series when FaZe wasn't playing good. Haven't even, like, touched them or been in the same breath as them as of late. Haven't even played them since that. Actually, they played them at the Minor Tourney, but they lost. Okay. Anyways, I still view them as a B-tier team. I don't think they're on the level of C, regardless of the situation that's going on. I still think they're a B-tier team because they're above, like, the lower average, but they're still, like, in the mid-pack that can take on all the teams around. Like, they're able to beat Cloud9. They could beat Miami. They beat OpTic before. They beat Røkkr. You know, like, they pretty much beat every fucking team. Pretty much beat every team. They've even beat Ultra before. At the major tournament on LAN, you know? Like, they've actually done a lot. So, I mean, I actually view them a lot higher than most. A lot of people are going to put them in C just because of recent events, but I'm taking those into account, but also how I view them, and I view them as a B-tier team. I don't view them as anything lower than a B-tier team. That's just my opinion. Yeah, because then I don't have to put them on the same level as Boston and Kerr Miami, which, I mean, I don't even know if I could do that. Okay, so now we're getting to the wire. Now we're getting on to the good stuff. So let me take another sip of water. All right. Let's do... I'm going to do Toronto Ultra up next. And, of course, I did watch, like, the Flanks tier list because, you know, I like to see other people's opinions, like, before I do mine. Like, that's usually how I roll. Like, sometimes I like to see other people's. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and do it. But, so, they had Ultra in the A tier. And I was going to agree. hear me out. I was going to agree, but then I was thinking I should put Ultra in the B tier. I know it sounds crazy. I really need to actually think about this before I do it. Because like the thing about Ultra is I don't feel like they're at that level yet. Like, yes, they 3-0'd LA Thieves on LAN at the last major. I know they did. Okay? I know they did. But I'm someone that likes to look a little bit deeper than just the scoreboard. LA Thieves for some reason allowed a protocol hardpoint in there, which has been their auto veto basically all Major II qualifiers. They try to they played against like ROKKR and another team, like just to kind of get some reps in, but pretty much throughout the qualifier and the minor tourney and a majority of the Major II tourney, they were hard vetoing that map. And they decide to go play Ultra on it. They would have had a better chance at Skyline. That's just my opinion. I don't even care if Ultra's the number one team on that map. You don't play protocol at all. If you don't play the map and you know even Ultra has reps on it, why would you play it? Play them on Skyline. You've dominated Ravens on Skyline. Like, you're capable of having good performance on that map. I know you lost to Boston at it, but you are capable at doing good at that map. You could just lock. It's not like Ultra is like unstoppable at that team. Like, Ultra almost lost to Boston at that map, but then they're able to actually come back. Like, they're not like super unbeatable, like super impossible to play on that map, especially with LA Thieves. If you have the compass that you have, like, I don't know why you need to square up on them on that map, to be honest. But even if you banned it and like they banned red card, you're better off fucking banning protocol, to be honest. And just fucking play them on Skyline. But if you think about it, if they don't play protocol and let's say they play another map and they make it to a map 4 Hacienda, LA Thieves probably takes that, and then it goes to map 5 S&D Vault, and, you know, that could go either way. But, you know, they did end up getting 3-0'd, but Ultra has a pretty good record against pretty much every team, but they're not at that, like, top level yet. And I didn't want to put them in A tier because I didn't want to ruin it, actually, but I guess I will right now. You know what? I had some thoughts, okay? Call me crazy here. I was originally, when I was first thinking about this, I was going to put Vancouver in the S tier along with Atlanta FaZe. So I guess I'll just like do that one right now. Atlanta FaZe in the S tier, obviously the best team in the game. They're not super unbeatable. But, you know, they are S tier because they're undefeated on LAN, haven't lost on LAN yet this year. Basically plays fucking top of everything, you know. That they're better than every team that they've beaten every team in the league. So, you know, can't argue that one at all. Like, you know, like they beat every team in the league. So, I mean, it is what it is. Actually, I'm not sure if they beat Ultra yet. Have they? I'm pretty sure like they got the revenge on Ultra. Did they not? They had to have. Dude, did they actually not? That would be interesting if they haven't. Yeah, never mind. Like, they 3-0'd them at the first major. Yeah, of course they did. Yeah, so they beat every team in the league. Anyways, so back to Vancouver and Ultra. So originally, I was going to put FaZe and Surge in the S tier together because I did feel like they were levels above everyone else. But the reason why I'm going to switch and put Vancouver to A is because they're more susceptible to losses than Atlanta FaZe, which would kind of take the aura of the S tier away. Like, they did lose to LA Thieves pretty much every single time for like the past like month that they played them in the Major II qualifier right after they got Neptune. Granted, it was pretty early on, but I mean, they got 3-0'd by LA Thieves. And then they lost 3-2 to Ultra, so pretty like susceptible to losses. But everything else is pretty convincing. They beat FaZe, they beat Cloud9 3-2, they beat LAG 3-1, Miami 3-1, Røkkr 3-1. At the minor 2 tourney, they beat Boston 3-1, FaZe 3-2, Ultra 3-0, lost to LA Thieves 4-3, Carolina 3-0, Boston 3-1, lost to FaZe 3-2, Ultra 3-1, and then lost to FaZe 4-0. And, the reason why I was going to put them in S tier as well is because they should have beaten FaZe in that fucking winners final. Like, they had the lead in the game 5, and they trolled it. Even in, like, the round 11, Nasty kind of just, like, runs away from Neptune, doesn't help him, leaves him on the boat side all by himself. I mean, if they win that, we're probably switching this around anyway. Like, am I right? But, it doesn't seem logical to put Vancouver in S when they've been losing to LA Thieves pretty much every single time. Like, that's not really what an S tier team would do, which is why I have to put them in A. But here's where it gets interesting. Okay? Here's where it gets interesting, and, it's a tier list. It's kind of for fun, but I kind of want to switch it up and kind of, like, do something different. I don't want everyone having the exact same fucking tier list, to be honest. But, dude, this is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make this decision. I don't know. I don't think I can, actually. Oh, like the decision I made, I'm going to have to switch it. Just by looking at what I'm looking at, it just doesn't even seem fair, to be honest. It doesn't even seem fair. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so I'm going to put LA Thieves in A as well. I was originally going to put them in B because of their recent performances, but there's like no world where I could actually do that, and it makes sense. They went 7-0 in the Major II Qualifiers. They won the Minor II tourney. They basically trolled against Boston, but were still able to make it all the way to Championship Sunday, regardless of the troll. They 3-1 Miami, 3-0 Ravens, 3-0 Cloud9. Like, they still fucking door-dashed every fucking team. And then an anomaly series against Ultra, and they lost it. So they're pretty much an A-tier team. Like, they're still, like, a very good team. Even when they're playing bad, they still make it as far as they did, which was top 4, which is still pretty tippable. I can't put them in B because that means I'd have to put them on the same tier as Ravens. And if I did put them in the same tier as the Ravens, I'd feel like I got to move Ravens down, I feel like I have to move Ravens down. But LA Thieves is, like, good, I cannot have them in the A tier, I cannot not have them in the A tier. Like, they're still a top team. Can't put them in, like, the B tier with, like, the normies, like, they're, like, above the normies. That's why I got to put them in the same tier as Vancouver. I was going to put Vancouver in S tier, and it'll probably make a bit more sense, but I can't do that solely based off the fact that LA Thieves has beaten Vancouver every single time. If Vancouver took at least 1 or 2 of those, I would have, me personally, I would have moved Vancouver up to S tier because that would mean they're capable of beating everyone, and in order to be in the S tier, you got to be able to beat everyone in my eyes. So you can't be in the S tier, but then you're losing the same team over again. It would make more sense if you're losing a one team, but you were winning major tournaments, but you haven't won anything, and you're losing the same team over and over again. So I think Vancouver and LA are basically locked for A, so I can't really do anything about that. So just to let you know, I was going to originally put Vancouver in S like that, and I was going to put I was going to have a blank A. Actually, I was actually going to put Ultra in A and just have it like that. Like, that's how I was originally going to have it. But we're going to do Ultra up next. And I didn't want to put him in A, to be honest. I actually did. This where it gets crazy. I was going to put Ultra in B. And the reason why I was going to put him in B is because I don't think they're on the level of LA Thieves and Vancouver, but they're better than the rest. But they still lose to the rest. They still lose to the mid-pack teams. Like, they're not a super duper team where it feels like, yeah, they're like above this team. Like, they still feel susceptible to lose to like any team. Even though if you look at their Major II run, they got 3-0'd by Cloud9, and then they won 3-0 against LEG, 3-0 against OpTic, which was already a broken team. 3-0'd Boston, who's arguably fucking dog shit. 3-0'd LA Thieves, could call it a miracle, and then Vancouver kind of took care of them. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty mid-pack team, but they're just above average, but their LAN performances are what's weighting my decision to put them in A. like their improvements at this major compared to the last one. But even at the last one, I mean, I swear they didn't make it a bit further. But I mean, they did make a good run. LAG, OpTic, Boston, LA Thieves is like not that bad of a run. I mean, like they got top 3. They got top 3, but I mean, I kind of want to put them in B. I'm not gonna lie, because I still think they're not at that level yet. They're not at the level, like the second I saw them against fucking Vancouver, I was like, dude, Vancouver's gonna win, bro. And then I see them against LA Thieves, and I think majority of the time they probably lose to LA Thieves, but I feel like that series was an anomaly series, bro. Because LA Thieves was undefeated on protocol control, and then all of a sudden Ultra 3-0'd them on the map. I just think it was just, I mean, I'm not going to take away anything from Ultra. I mean, they clearly played that well, but something wrong in the LA Thieves camp there for sure for them to lose a map they were 8-0 at, like 3-0 like that pretty convincingly. It looked like they weren't even in the fight. It looked like they weren't even like all there. So that's interesting. I really want to put them in B, but like they're just above average though. They're just above average, but I do, like me personally, I think they're average. Like I think they're like the top of the mid-pack team, but I did say at the beginning of the season that they were going to be like the number 4 team, and right now they are. So, I mean, everything just fucking comes to fruition, doesn't it? So, I guess I'll keep them in A because that's what makes sense. That's what makes sense. If it wasn't for that Major II run, I don't know, man. But, I mean, they did have a pretty good record in the qualifiers. They went 5-2, so, I mean, can't really blame them there. But they do lose to Cloud9 New York a lot, which is something that needs to be talked about. They lose to Vancouver a lot. They lose to Cloud9 a lot. Those seem to be like the 2 teams they can't really beat. They beat Vancouver 3-2 in the qualifiers, but I mean, I don't really fucking, it's the qualifiers. Doesn't really matter. But I don't know. Hold on. I'm kind of looking. I kind of do want to put them in B. I'm not gonna lie. Even though they're 5-2, but like they went 5-2 at the qualifier, and then they got fucking top 3. I can't put them in B. Like that's not something a B tier team would do. So can't really put them in B. So I'm gonna put them bottom of A. So that's where Ultra's gonna be. I'll actually do. Dude, I'm just gonna do OpTic Texas, bro. I'm going to do OpTic Texas because a lot of you probably think I'm saving OpTic for last, so I'm just going to prove you wrong that I'm not saving them for last. I, personally, I saw the flank put OpTic in B, in C, but I just spoiled it. I'm going to put OpTic Texas in B, and I'm going to put them above the Royal Ravens. Not really based off of scrims, but scrims did kind of have something to do with it. But I just personally feel like their team dynamic is way better than it was before. Obviously, I could say till cows come on, we're talking about OpTic a million times. Who should have never been dropped. But this is my chance to talk about OpTic real quick. So let me take a sip of my water. So me personally, he's a great guy. He's a nice guy. I've said nothing but great things about him. You can even go on my past shorts talking about how he's like the face of the league, and I love it. He's like the best fuck face of the league that we've had in a while. Because, something I like about Shotzi, so I'm going to talk about Shotzi real quick. Something I like about Shotzi is I love, he, for me personally, is my favorite face of the league. And it's just a simple fact that he has some flaws. He has some flaws. He's not like super duper PR trained like someone like Attach or whatever who just always says like the right thing all the time, just super PR answers. Like Shotzi's not afraid to like say the bad thing, or like do something bad. And I kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy like the character flaw there. But with that being said, super nice guy, great entertainer, very good streams for the most part, very good Call of Duty player. But man, I gotta say, like no disrespect at all, he's been moving like a bitch this year. I can't even lie. He's been moving like a hoe this year. Like the shady shit he been doing needs to be documented, and we need to come back to this in the future, because what he's been doing is downright dirty and unacceptable, like on some straight hoe shit. Like that's what he's been on lately, and he's been moving like a bitch, like quite literally said, been moving like a bitch. The dropping Hook in the first place when he was the best performing player in the team just to go pick up Pred because he wanted to feel the championship feeling again. Stupid. And then realizing you're wrong, having to be the guy that drops AG because, you know, motherfucker's probably like the GM, honestly, bro. Like, he running the shots. He basically picks up the players that he wants, bro. He made the call to Hook. He made the call to Skies. Like, he made the call to AG to pick him up and to drop him. The call to Hook. Fucking pick him up. Probably to drop him as well. Like, this guy's pulling the strings. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. He's been moving like a hoe, bro. The fact that you dropped one of your good friends, Hook, your COD father, to go pick up AG because you thought maybe you needed the world championship feeling again, stupid. Fucking dumb. And now, here you are. And now, Hook, on the other hand, like, actually feels like he feels like a girlfriend in an abusive relationship going back again, you know, going back to a toxic relationship. Like, I promise, baby, I'll be better this time, you know, like that type of shit. That's what Hook feels like he's on again. Because, dude, I would be asking for mountains to be moved in order for me to join that team back after being done dirty when you actually did nothing wrong. Like, Hook's probably like, I did nothing wrong. Realistically, he doesn't care. He's a super chill guy. I'm sure he's a super chill guy. But, yeah, bro, they've been moving like hoes. Or, I mean, at least like Shotzi does. Because I don't think, me personally, I don't think Dashi's in there with Shotzi like, yeah, let's fucking do that. Like, I feel like this is like fucking Shotzi. But, and I feel like Dashi kind of just spawns in and just like plays, you know. But with that being said, I do like this iteration of the roster. I do feel like this iteration of the roster has a lot more teamwork. I feel like their S&D gets better again. Their hard point looks great. They do need to tighten them up on control, but I do feel like they will take a lot of games from the mid-pack, capable of taking games off of Ultra. I'm not really looking into scrims, so don't say, oh, but Ultra beam in scrims, whatever. I feel like they're going to be pretty high up in B, because I do feel like they're capable. I mean, they're not going to touch Atlanta phase at the moment, but I do feel like they're capable of taking maps or games off of Ultra, even possibly LA Thieves if it's the right best of 5 map set, and even Vancouver possibly. Those hard points would be interesting. I can't wait to see that matchup when it does happen. But I feel like all the teams below them, I think they can handle pretty good. I feel like Miami may be able to upset them a bit, but yeah, I personally think OpTic is a B tier team, even though we haven't seen them play yet. I don't care if they went 0-21 against every team that was in fucking Falcons, like last split or last stage. I think this version of the team is a B tier team, and that's like me judging how good I think they are right now and what I expect them to be. You know, this what the tier list is, and it is also based off of recent performance. But me personally, since by ranking, I'm trumping that shit because it's a new roster. I'm trumping that shit, so I have them in B for me personally. Obviously, they're not an A tier team yet, but I have them in B. So up next, I'm going to do Cloud9, and I'm going to put Cloud9 in B above them because I do feel Cloud9 has made a lot of positive strides. I mean, they're showing they're a lot more capable. They didn't make any roster changes. I swear if they picked up AG, I would have lost it. They would have regressed. I feel it would have fucked up the whole dynamic of the team. I feel like the team they have right now is good. Could question attach a bit. To be honest, like, he's probably the one piece probably going to be replaced, but AG is not the person to replace him. Like, I don't want Mac to move to a flex. Like, that's not what I want, because you have to be the main at that point. Because fucking Dante just lacks OBJ anything at the moment. But, I mean, yeah, like, bringing AG in and if I'm moving Mac to a flex, stupid. Anyone ever bring that up to me, I'm just not gonna reply to you at all. I think it's stupid. I know Mac's capable of fucking being a flex, but dude, no, no, like just no, The whole dynamic's gonna be fucked up. You're gonna have a Dante and AG once again on a team where they don't want to fucking touch the hill, and then fucking Mac and Kremp are now gonna have to do it, and they're gonna look way worse than the players that they look right now. So I don't vouch for that. I think they made positive strides in the right direction. They're able to, I mean, honestly, if it isn't LA Thieves or fucking FaZe, like I don't think they have a problem, bro. They just unfortunately ran into Ultra, which they 3-0'd, and then they ran to fucking FaZe and LA Thieves back to back. You know, if it isn't those teams, I kind of feel like they could pretty much handle pretty much everyone on any given day, which is why I had them at the top of B. I feel like they're like the best of like the, I mean, I did say Ultra's the best of the average teams, but they're the best of like the B tier teams and below. But I mean, obviously that makes sense if I said Ultra's the best because Ultra's higher, so they'd be better. No, whatever. Anyways, I do feel like Cloud9's at the top of B for me personally. I do feel like they're taking strides in the right direction. Hopefully they don't regress. Hopefully they don't make me like regret putting them in B, but obviously they're going to be in B regardless. I don't think they're a C tier team, obviously. They're just a very solid team right now. They're just not on the level of LAT or FaZe, but I do feel like they could beat anybody else. Even Vancouver. They've already beat Ultra. They could beat every other team here. So now the last two teams, ROKKR and Gentlemates. Dude, we're going to be able to fuck finish this in an hour. Oh my god, this is going to be so great. So, I'm going to try to finish this like before the hour mark. This is going to be like the first time I ever do a Borito Talk and it finishes before an hour. Milestone fuck type shit. All right. I'm going to save ROKKR for last just because of the announcement of Kenny. So Gentlemates, their new roster is Kismet, Johnny, Fellow, and Lunars. I love the SMG duo. I think Kismet is great. He could enable. He could also get kills as well. Very aggressive, very good at S&D. Knows how to play slow as well. And I think Johnny fucking moves, bro. I watched them play at the Challengers LAN. I watched a lot of the Challenger VOD from that LAN. Bro, this guy, high engagement, could chow anybody. Great at S&D, great at hardpoint. Just a great overall player. And I think this game is a game that actually suits him a lot. And I do feel like we're going to see very good performance out of Johnny. So I think he was like a hot SMG like for any team to pick up. But obviously most of the top teams didn't really need an SMG. But Gentlemates fucking did. So I do like that duo of Johnny and Kismet. I do feel like in Respawn and S&D, they're going to look really good. I'm just not fully convinced by that AR duo. I know that they did good in Challengers together, and I do feel because of that they're going to find success, because I do feel like that dynamic of Tyler, Fellow, and Kismet is a good dynamic. And then you bring Johnny into it, who I think at some point, did he play with Tyler, Fellow, and Lunars? Even if he didn't, Lunars and Fellow were on like the Challengers team that was doing good in like the Cups and the Elites. They were fucking winning those. So they obviously have the cam. They obviously have a way that they like to play. Obviously, like enables them very well. So there's chem there, and there can be chem between the SMGs. And if you bring that together, you could have a pretty solid team on your hands. And me personally, I'm not gonna put them in D. I can't put this team in D. I kind of do feel like their ceiling has been raised now. I feel like this is a team that could take maps. That could take games from Miami, from Boston, give it some more time, maybe Ravens. So I think, me personally, I'm going to put them in C. I was going to put them above Miami, but I do feel like Miami just has more reps together as a team, so they're better. I was honestly going to fuck around. Dude, I was going to fuck around and put LEG in B. I'm not even kidding. I was going to fuck around and do that. Actually, do you want to know what? No. I'm going to put Miami B. I actually like that a lot better. I like that better. LEG's a bottom team. I haven't seen them play yet, so they still have stuff to prove, but I do feel like they're not a D. I still feel like the Falcons is on a tier of their own. To me, that's just undisputed right now. Maybe it'll change, but I do feel like that's just the way it is. And then the last team, ROKKR. I can't wait. I got 10 minutes to talk about this because I was trying to be done before the hour. The pickup of Kenny. Man, that video aged like fine wine, did it not? Did it not? That video aged like a fine wine. Bro, dude, I said, bro, ROKKR is the best team for Kenny, man. Like, in terms of the players, the coach, the philosophy that could be instilled on this team, this was the best option. With Ravens, you could argue there could have been some combatant, play style or ways you want to play the game with Gwyn and Slasher. I know Slasher and Kenny love each other, even with fucking TJ. They all have sort of like the same mind for Call of Duty, but, alphas like that can butt heads on the way you want to play the game. I feel like he's going to walk into this ROKKR team, and it's 3 players that are looking for that person to help take them to the next level, and that is Kenny. And I feel like this is a team, because they're a pretty average team in every single game mode. I feel like the only, if you take away like Hacienda S&D and now Vault S&D is gone, so I mean, can't even talk about that no more. Like, outside of Hacienda S&D and Skyline Hardpoint, like, they're pretty 50-50 on everything. Their Hacienda Control actually has gotten a bit better too. So, I mean, take those like 3 maps away, like those 3 games away. They're a pretty average, if not below average team. They're a very good team at battling back when they're losing hard points. Like, that's seems to be when they want to start trying, but they don't really win hard points by like 100, which is not sustainable at all. And now we're seeing it now, because we said it before at the beginning of the season. You can't be winning these games. It's good that you're winning them map 5 all the time, like you're going down to the wire. It's not sustainable. And now you're seeing it's not sustainable. They had to make a roster change because of how not sustainable it is. These wins don't matter if you're barely scraping by every time. You need to be able to win some convincing games. That shows that you're a good team, making good strides, playing the game correctly. If you could beat teams more convincingly, you can't always scrape by. I don't care if you go 7-0, if you scrape by. You're going to end up losing the second you get to like a better team. Just the way it is. But I mean, a lot of teams would take that 7-0. But I do feel with this Kenny addition, this team is perfect for Kenny, because I know Kenny, he said it multiple times in multiple interviews in multiple different years. He plays his best when he plays in a team that has a system and a way to play and everyone's on the same page. And this is a team where everyone would willingly be on the same page. Even when I watch them play, even without Kenny, even with Paul X, like, they play like pretty much like a team that's on the same page in everything. They're hard points, like, even though they're not the best, when they do make good plays and they crawl back in games, I see them orchestrating spawn traps, blocking spawns together, very good formations on the map that help all of each other, the way they support each other, Estrel and Nero on pinches when they need to be. I mean, if you take away Pollux, because Pollux wasn't playing good, and I really do wish the best for Pollux. I hope he gets back in the league. I really do. It's like such a good kid he is. Like, I wish him the best, man. He's such an awesome fucking character, and I hope he's able to get back in the league. But I think Kenny in that place, and Kenny in a team that he's comfortable with, will be able to facilitate everyone on the team and everyone in this team. Like, there's no real egos in this team. You could argue maybe Geo sometimes could play a bit selfish for kills, but I mean, those kills do come at a benefit. He does play with his team a lot. Very high engagement player. He's not a kill hoary player playing for KD. He actually is in the mix with his team. I do feel like this team is perfect for Kenny. I already talked about it in the video. Make sure you watch that one. It's the last episode of Burrito Talk, ranking the top places that Kenny should end up at, and I picked ROKKR as number 1 and Carolina as number 2, and that aged so well, because he was gonna go to Carolina. The universe knew ROKKR was better, so Carolina's number 2, ROKKR was number 1. I have high hopes for this team, okay, but I do feel it's gonna take some time. because they just, dude, if anything, they scrimmed like 2-3 days at the most. Like, if they scrimmed any more than that, it means they were scrimming before the contract was even done. Which I mean, like, you can't even argue anyway. But they don't even have like a full week of scrims together as a team, and you need more time like that, especially when you're bringing a new piece that has probably gonna switch up the whole philosophy of how they're playing everything. They're probably gonna keep some aspects of it the same, but I do feel like a lot's going to change for the better. And this is a team he could lead, a team that has respect for him, a team that knows like this team hasn't won shit. Kenny's the only one that's won shit. So there is going to be a level of respect for that, 2-time world champ, multi-time champion in multiple different games, Superstar SMG has had superstar performances as an AR. There's a lot of respect there, They're not going to eagle him like you're coming into our team. Like, this is very much Kenny coming into a team, like, with everyone respecting him. Like, how do you want to play, sir? Like, it's like that type of shit. And I do feel like this dynamic, give it some time, give it even a month, even like a few weeks, and you'll see the upgrades in this. Playing OpTic for the first game back is interesting because, I mean, OpTic has a bit more reps. But, I mean, dude, I have high hopes for Røkkr. Very high hopes for Røkkr. You understand me? Very high hopes for Røkkr. Very high hopes for Røkkr. Unfortunately, though, I can't put them in A because we haven't seen them play. And, they haven't done anything to deserve being an A. And I can't, in my right mind, put them above Cloud9, who's proven to be a top B-tier team. So what I can do right now, just based off of prospect and how good I think they're going to do without seeing them play yet, is I'm going to put them second in the B-tier. That, for me personally, makes a lot more sense. That, for me, makes sense to me. I don't care what anyone. That to me makes sense. Off prospect alone, I do feel like they're gonna be. I think give it even like 2-3 more weeks, they'd like it actually may be this, or maybe that. Like, honestly, but for right now, because haven't seen them play yet, I'm gonna put them right below Cloud9 in the B tier, above OpTic. I do feel actually. I actually feel like OpTic might be better. Just OpTic just has more. I think Hook is a fucking warlord, bro. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that for now. I think Hook's a fucking warlord in this game, bro. I mean, I can't even argue that. I can't even deny that shit. To be honest, I think Hook's a warlord. I do think OpTic does beat Røkkr in this first game, to be honest. But, if they play again later on, I do feel it going the other way. But I do feel like right now, I would put OpTic ahead. Like, I do feel like OpTic is just like a better team with a higher ceiling, to be honest. But are there any other? Hold on, I'm gonna look at Røkkr's like stats real quick. I mean, they've been losing a lot lately, but. Okay, yeah, I actually do like that. I'm going to put them just above Ravens for now because Ravens kind of on a slope. I'm thinking if I should put Miami ahead of Ravens in the B tier. Wait, let me see. I'm going to do it. I like that better. I like this better. Okay, guys, so this is going to be my tier list going into Major III Qualifiers. So for those of you only listening on audio, I'm going to read it out to you. I have Atlanta FaZe all alone in the S tier. And then I have Vancouver, the first team in the A tier, followed by LA Thieves and Ultra, last in A tier. And then in the B tier, first in the B tier, I have Cloud9, and then OpTic, and then Røkkr, and then Miami, and then Carolina. And then in the C tier, I have LAG, followed by Boston. And then all alone in the D tier, I have the Vegas Falcons, regardless of this freaking new roster that they're freaking picking up, whatever. But yeah, that is my tier list concluding before the hour mark. Can you believe it? I cannot believe it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. Let's lock in for this major tomorrow. We got an OpTic versus ROKKR tomorrow. I mean, I have OpTic taking that. That's just me. If it goes the other way, I'll be happy because it means, it means ROKKR's going to be everything I said they would. But I have high hopes for this ROKKR team. This Major III qualifier is only 5 games, but I think this is going to be the most interesting. We have a lot of roster changes. We have a lot of new games. These Vegas Falcons games are now interesting to watch now. So, yeah, with that being said, guys, this has been Burrito. Hope you have a good one. We'll see you in the watch parties and the streams over the weekend. Have a good one. Have a good rest of your day. This has been Burrito. Bada boom, bada bye. We'll see you next time.